Hey, welcome to the From the Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Shane Grove. And before we get started with today's episode, I just want to remind everybody you can go find us at fromtheshadowspodcast.com. From there, you can go to all of our social media Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I am not singing or dancing on TikTok, no matter how many times people ask me to. I'm not doing it. So you can stop requesting it. Anyway, from there you can also find our Patreon page. You can find our store if you want to order a t-shirt. And the most important thing is there's a contact button. So if you have a sighting or an experience that you want to share with me, hit the contact button and send me an email. I will get back to you, I promise. And if you want to come on the show, we'll have you on the show. So if you want to get a hold of me directly, you can find me at Shane Grove Author on Instagram, or you can just message me on one of our Facebook accounts. So with that being said, I'm super excited about this episode because I know hardly anything about what I'm going to get told. So I feel like I'm going on the ride with all you listeners. So joining us from the blue state, right? The bluegrass state. Is that
Bluegrass.
what bluegrass state is? Beth and Steve. Beth and Steve, welcome to the From the Shadows
Thank
podcast.
you. Thank you so much. Good to be here. Thank you for having us.
No, it's my pleasure. So I thought when we first started talking, that you guys just had a really cool Dogman story. Turns out you guys have a bunch of cool stories that I don't know anything about. So I'm going to let you guys take over the show and just tell me what has been going on down there in Kentucky.
Let me give you a little backstory.
You go right ahead.
I'll give you just a little backstory. We've been in Kentucky for 13 years. We're originally from Maryland. But my family roots are Eastern Kentucky. I was the first generation born out of the Appalachian Mountains after about 200 years. So it's kind of in our blood, kind of in my blood. So it was sort of a homecoming when we moved back down here. We've been married for over 30 years, and we were really fortunate when we first got married to meet the right people, because they got us in the right direction to know. Basically, you would call us, we've been kind of the conspiracy theories our whole marriage. We met these people that are like, oh, well, what is the government? What is history? What is pharmaceuticals and medicine? So, we've kind of, I remember, 25 years ago, I think it was a Phil Schneider book or episode or something. And I read this, and I remember looking at Steve and I said, are we crazy? Because I believe this. And he said, I don't know, but I believe it too. So we've kind of been open, but we never heard the word Dogman,
Mm-hmm.
It was just recently, within the last few years, that term was like a new term for us. Of course, my family would say, they would use different terms from Southeastern Kentucky. They would say different things, and it kind of encompassed any bad thing, but they didn't use the term Dogman. But we've been in this house, in this farm, for 8 years, and Steve used to work at a different shift, and he would be coming home about midnight. And a few years ago,
This is I'm guessing 17 or 18 prior to COVID. I remember that much. I had worked. I work in I'll say north central Kentucky, Georgetown, and I live in southern central Kentucky. So it's about an hour drive home. And I worked a couple hours over, which meant I was leaving work around midnight. And it was a nice drive. Weather was fine. I don't remember what time of year it was, to be honest with you. I don't remember if it was hot or cold, but it was clear. It was a moonlit night. And part of my commute is on what's called New Circle Road, which is a 19-mile circumference around Lexington, Kentucky. For my commute, I cover about half of that. I get on the north end and come back, get off the south end of that. Approximately half of my journey on New Circle Road, there is a sewage treatment plant that's really, really lit up at nighttime, and also smells to high heaven. So if you forget of where you're at, you kind of like, oh, I can smell. I know where I'm at. We're good.
It's like a in drive smelling salt, right?
It
Like
is. It is.
wakes you up. Okay.
Exactly. So I was coming by that, and it's very well lit up, and I don't remember very many other cars being on the road, which is normal at that time of night. It's not a whole lot of cars. There's maybe one or two cars with me, and occasional cars going the other direction. This is it's a 2-lane highway, so 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going the other way. With at that point it had a Jersey wall in the middle, so you couldn't. All of a sudden, as I'm driving, and I know I was in the right hand lane, a pack of what I initially thought was wild dogs come running up next to me. I'm in a 2006 Chevy Suburban, driving approximately 60 miles an hour. And at first, it didn't seem weird to me that a pack of dogs is running approximately 60 miles an hour next to me. And I don't know why it didn't seem weird to me, but I was just like, oh, I better be careful not to hit them. And as I'm driving along, and they're just kind of keeping pace with me, they actually began to outpace me. There's some now in front of me, and now some on my left-hand side. So I'm surrounded, and I could hear them like hitting the road, and they're growling and snarling and making all kinds of noises. And it is at that moment that I began to realize something's not right with this. And I look over to my left, and one of them is like right next to my window, and it's looking at me, and its eyes are red, not like super glowing red, but red. And I could see all of them were like very, very dark and wolf-like. I would say, I mean, that's the only thing. It's like the biggest wolf you could possibly imagine, and they're just keeping pace with me. And one of them it had to have been from my right hand side, actually kind of nudged my car. I mean, I felt it shake. Didn't do any damage, but I'm like, what in the world? And so now I'm starting to panic. And I decide if I slow down, they'll just keep on running. So I hit the brakes a little bit, and they slowed down with me. And I got really, really frightened. I didn't know what else to do, so I actually just stepped on the gas again, and they took right off with me. And then they outpaced me and went off to the left-hand side, jumped the Jersey wall, and went off into the woods somewhere that I have no idea, and didn't see them anymore.
Oh. So these were on all fours?
All fours, yes. And this is a very populated. I mean, this is like literally right around Lexington. This is not like in the middle of nothing. This is as dense the population as you get in this area. I mean, Lexington's a big city here, and it's a small city by comparison to anywhere else. But that's like, you always hear these stories out in the, way eastern Kentucky or way western Kentucky and the woods where nobody really lives. This is not that. I mean, this literally came from the sewage treatment plant, or at least that area, and running on a highway with me. And I never felt I didn't feel like they were going to hurt me, but I felt like if I hit them, it's going to hurt me. It's going to mess up my car, and it's going to be bad for everybody involved. And it didn't really occur to me that this was like, at first I'm just saying this is just dogs. It's just dogs. And as I'm thinking about it afterwards, I'm like, that was way too big to just be a normal dog. Way too.
And they're running in the highway, beside you.
That's 60 miles an hour on
and
the highway.
Head is hitting the window of the driver in a Suburban.
So I don't really listen to a whole lot of other stories, so I don't know if this fits the narrative of anything. But that was my experience. It was the weirdest thing, and I'm looking. There's other cars in this mess. So did anybody else see this? I have no idea. But at that moment, it was just like, well, I got to get home. I'm not going to stop. So that was that. I mean, it was just the most bizarre thing.
I
So he
mean,
didn't tell me for a couple days. And he finally, we're busy. Like we have a farm and the way he works, crazy hours. And when he finally had time to tell me, he said, so I had a really weird experience. And he's like, I don't know. These are just like huge dogs or, like we do have a wolf rescue around here, not too far. He's like, I don't know. Could they have gotten out? I'm like, how fast were you driving? It doesn't sound right. And then he's like, well, I did have a couple other weird experiences right there that I didn't tell you about either. And then he
so,
proceeds to tell
so
me,
okay, so let's hear the other weird experiences, and then let's
So,
see if
well,
we can somehow.
yeah, I think it's not related at all, but I will.
it's related.
So right in that same area,
It's related.
and it was within a couple of weeks, all three of these experiences. So backing up, I'd say maybe in the neighborhood of 3 weeks. Same deal. I'm on my way home. It's night. It's dark, and of course, 2006 Suburban doesn't have a screen or anything like that. It just has a clock in the dashboard right
I
in the
drove.
middle.
I
Right?
drove one. I drove one about the same. About the
So
same.
you know the
Yeah,
deal.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
So
when
I'm
you're
driving.
when you're telling this, okay, I've driven nothing but Suburbans for 20
Okay,
years,
so you know the deal.
and so when you're saying these things is looking in your window, this is not like you're in like a Honda Civic,
No.
Right? No.
okay? And
You're up pretty high.
yeah, and then to have one bump into your front fender and feel it, like I feel like I could run over almost anything with my
Right.
Suburban.
I sure didn't want to have to get out. Oh my
Oh
god.
gosh. Okay, so you're in the same
So
place on the highway again.
same area, and I'm just driving home, and I just it's happened two different ways. Similar thing. I look down at my clock because and I don't have my cell phone out at the time. I'm just kind of keeping track of what time it is. And I think at that moment, I looked down and the clock said 12:12.
Okay.
I look back up at the road. I look back down at the clock and it says 12:45. I did not feel anything happen. I feel like it was one continuous driving motion. So I honestly thought something glitched with my clock on the car.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got home, I pulled out my cell phone, and my clock on the cell phone and my clock on the car are exactly the same. So it's not like it got off. I don't know what happened. I got to be honest. I don't know what in the world happened. I'm trying to explain why I'm getting home so much later. I don't know. I don't know what happened. About a week after that, very same thing, different time. I cannot remember exactly what time it was, but I look down at the clock. I look up at the road. I look down at the clock. An hour and a half had gone by. Only this time, when I look back up, I'm not on the same road anymore. I had gotten on an exit that I would not have taken to go home. I was like, it took me a while to figure out where in the world I was. I actually got off on an exit, two exits before where I would normally get off. And it took me a while to figure out how to get resituated where I was. It felt like one continuous experience. Like I just looked down, looked up, and that was it.
I would like to say you're the first person I've had on the show that has happened to, but that it's not. You're not the first person.
Yeah.
And no, 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 no. Like now it's more, a lot of it is like now the first time you were on the same, you didn't feel like you had gone any further.
Right. No,
It was
as
just like
far as I could tell, I was in the same exact spot. Nothing
okay.
changed other than the time.
Okay. Yeah. And so, yeah, I've heard from like people that, they've been, driving in climate weather, and Next thing you know, they just started, and all of a sudden they're where they're supposed to be, and it's been like no time. Like like no time has passed. Like no time has passed. They
Oh,
just
wow.
gone from point A to point B, or they've lots of people have lost time on drives, and I've experienced stuff when you're tired. When you're tired and
Right, right.
you're like, oh my gosh, wait, how did I just make this hour drive and get home? But to be, um, it sounds like you're like with it. You're not like falling
I was
asleep
very much
tired.
aware.
You just
Right.
got
Not
done.
missing out or anything. I was very much aware, and actually just paying attention to what time it was, so I could kind of estimate what time I was going to be getting home, and then like it's like the Matrix glitched on me or something, you know?
Well, okay, so my no stretch of the imagination, an expert on anything, but as you're telling me this, because it makes zero sense for a pack of wild dogs to be running on the highway at 60 miles an hour around you. Okay. However, if you were, if in their space, they're just running like whatever dimension
Right, right, right.
or place they're at, they're just running and they're like, ooh, what's this guy in this truck doing? It's almost like you passed like on this highway at some point. There's a point where you pass into something that isn't this reality.
Like a
Is that
portal.
Right.
like
Yeah, I agree with you.
like
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a portal, but it's almost like you enter this time slip where there's other stuff going on that you're just like you're the one passing through it.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those dogs are running and you're just passing through whatever like dimension they're in running. Because it makes, and I've heard I've heard Dogman and Bigfoot and stuff running at extreme speeds. Okay. Um, who am I to say they can't? I mean, we're talking about stuff that's pretty, um, amazing just to even consider that these things exist. Who
Right.
knows what they can do? But it would make more sense to me that you entered a place where they existed and just were passing through. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then to have the time lapses would really be man, that would be wild. That would be super wild. So, especially then to find, get off and figure out and be like, hey, where am I? You know, that I hate to say that, but that almost sounds like, and I know you guys sent me some video of lights in the sky. I mean, it's almost like in those couple instances, you got, I don't want to say abducted, but that's what like, it's either you went into some
Yeah.
time slip
I'm weird. Yeah.
or something, because that's a classic UFO tale. Is I was driving down the road, next thing you know, it's hours later, and I'm somewhere I don't know where I'm at, and this time is missing, and wow,
That really scared you.
That shook me. That shook me. And I was very reluctant to tell anybody for a very long time because I thought I was going crazy.
I
I
can
know.
I can imagine. I mean, yeah, it would. I would be super scared to come to it and be like somewhere where you don't expect to be. That would be scary. So it makes you wonder like what else happens.
Okay, well, so you ready for the next one?
I got to be honest. I was not ready for those. Okay, I was not ready for those.
Was it the night that you had a time lapse, or did you intentionally drive home through town?
So after that, I intentionally took a different way home because I didn't want to have anything weird happen.
Mhm.
And I was going right through the town. Is it okay to say what town?
Yeah, you could say, yeah.
In Kentucky, they say Versailles. Everywhere else, you would say Versailles. But It's a French name.
We say Versailles in Ohio too.
Oh,
So
okay.
don't think you're all no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It took us a while. You were from Maryland originally, so it took us a while to get used to saying Versailles. But we live here now, so now we're used to saying it. So anyway, I was getting right. I got off and went a totally different way home, and which would take me straight through Versailles. When all of a sudden, I see this creature. I don't know how else to describe it except for a gigantic, hairless flying squirrel.
Felt like human size, you said.
I'd say way bigger than human size, maybe about 8-9 feet tall, flying and literally stretching itself out and then landing over here, and then the rest of it kind of coming down with it. Right. I mean, I could literally watch it. It was far enough out that it wasn't like over top of me. I could see this whole thing. And it was just like the weirdest thing happened. And it was just so fast. I stopped and I'm like, because it was, again, middle of the night. I'm like looking. I don't have a flashlight to try to find this thing, but it's like, what in the world was that? I mean, I told Beth, I said, did you ever see the movie Beastmaster?
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
Okay. Great, old movie. But you remember the scene where all these meat-eating things jumped up and like wrapped their wings around all the people and ate them?
Vaguely, but that sounds
That's
horrifying.
kind of what I saw. I mean, it was the weirdest thing. I mean, like it was kind of shiny, and definitely not furry. Nothing I've ever seen before. But it literally like almost stretched out like a slinky, and then when it landed, it kind of came back together on the other side of the river.
So it's almost like like what you're witnessing is stuff that isn't, because that, like I said, that doesn't physically make sense. But you could see, like, if you were watching something that was just a little bit off of what you were, that motion of that stretching, because I can picture what you're saying. It's almost like well, number one, I am not getting, you don't, if you start Ubering, I just want to advise anybody getting in the car.
I could charge extra for that.
Yes, I would advise. Or you could charge extra. But it's almost like you are like you're the center of this stuff, weird stuff happening.
Attracted to me for one reason or another. I don't know.
But I've never heard anything like a hairless flying squirrel. Like I can't even. I have no clue what that could even.
I don't know. But it actually happened 2 times.
That happened and now in the same place?
No.
It's not the exact. No, it's not even the same place. It happened multiple. It happened actually once, a lot closer to home.
And then it happened to me. So he saw it once, and then I saw it again.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
So, oh gosh. So is this okay? Wow. Okay. Now, so it lands. So this creature lands. Do you see it once it lands?
I did for a second, and then it was very quick to move away to where it was no longer in sight.
So it didn't like take off running. It just happened to like disappear, sort of.
It moved. I mean, but again, it was very, very fast. I couldn't tell you, did it jump again, or did it run? I don't know. It was very quick to be not visible anymore. And where the first time where I was at, right in town, but there was like lots of buildings and stuff that it wouldn't be very hard to be not visible to me on the road anymore, no matter who you were. The second time was not in any populated area at all. but there's lots of woods, so it wouldn't have very much hard time to get out.
Well, that one you were going across something that's called the Brooklyn Bridge. So there's something called the Palisades here, and you're going over the Kentucky River. There's a bridge, and you have huge, like mount cliffs.
The Palisades.
The Palisades, right?
There.
And that's the second place you saw it.
Yeah. So Lord knows. I mean, that's right on the Kentucky River. So
yeah. Beth, where did you have your sighting?
Here on my farm.
Okay.
Which is probably 5 minutes from the Palisades.
Okay, so you kind of mentioned there's some high strangeness going on there at the farm a little bit.
Right.
Do you think like that's tied to some of this? Or
well, no, not from what he saw on the road and things. No, I think
I don't that whole dog stuff. That's a whole. But I mean, like this creature that you guys are both seeing or both have seen, because so Kentucky. So how far away would you guys be from Point Pleasant?
Not far. And actually, what people don't know about that is that was actually spotted in Kentucky long before it was spotted in West Virginia. And people don't realize that. It just, I think Kentucky is a very interesting place. I am grateful that my parents left because, the industry left Southeast Kentucky and my parents left. My dad was a go-getter. And he left to work and he took very good care of his family. He had opportunities he would not have had he stayed there. But there, I think, is just something in your DNA, if that's your roots, I think it's a very different people. It's very Celtic, very, like my mama, my maternal grandmother would have been what you would have called like a Appalachian granny witch. Like she was the one that healed people. She was the midwife. She predicted things, she saw things, she interpreted dreams. I think we're just different people, I think some people would not. I think if you move here and it's not in your blood, you're probably not safe. I think if it's in you,
you are doing nothing for the tourism Kentucky. I'm just going to tell you in that state.
I think people go looking for things and they shouldn't. They ought not do it. But I think some of us, we can see things. We have the ability to see things or be around it, but we're still kind of safe, even if we see it, it's drawn to us. But I don't know. I think that, what he saw in the Palisades was definitely what I saw here on the farm. I don't know how it's all connected. I don't know.
Well, I will say that, recently I have had quite a few people from, the Appalachian Mountain, Appalachia, however they want to call it. And I mean, I don't think anybody's going to argue that there's crazy stuff that goes on, because I think that the Appalachian Mountains themselves are they're like the oldest mountains on the earth. I think if my memory serves, like that's some ancient stuff. There's stuff there that's been around since the dawn of, whatever's been happening on this planet, and it just seems like they don't want to let go of their territory, whatever it is. And it's just so I'm blown away. I was not expecting a giant, like, I don't want to say flying squirrel because, but
well, I think you said that because it's hairless and like when I saw it,
like it didn't have like wings,
right?
It literally had like that kind of skin that a flying squirrel uses to kind of glide, but definitely wasn't a squirrel, right? I mean that almost
Pterodactyl.
more like a pterodactyl
Yeah.
or something like that. I can't tell you what I've never seen anything like it. I don't know what you would call it. I have no idea.
Now, could you guys see like a face on this thing at all?
I did not.
No.
Neither time I did not.
And I wonder, I mean, see, when it seems to me like when creatures like this, when you see them, it's because they want you to see them. Because you know what I'm saying? And maybe they don't know that you guys have your third eye opened because of all the other stuff going on. And maybe they don't know that you can see them. But
that's possible. Yeah.
But to me, so that wolf, did it feel like when it looked in at you that it knew it saw you? Like, I know that you know that I know that,
Yeah.
that kind
yeah. There was a knowing. There was definitely a knowing. And at that moment, it was like I knew it didn't want to hurt me, and I hope I let it know that I didn't want to hurt it. But it's like, yeah, it was kind of like that kind of moment where he's like, "I see you," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
It's funny because, everybody has a different response. We've had weird experiences our whole marriage. We have been together since we were 18 years old. So we grew up together,
I was going to guess 5 when you said 30 years. You said 30 years. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, you guys are still younger than me, but I mean, if I had Steve's hair at his age, if you're not watching this on YouTube, if I had Steve's hair, there'd be no stopping me. I would be like,
oh Lord.
But, I think I remember I had kind of said about your experience one time, and somebody said, "Oh, he must have been panicking or terrified." Like, yeah, well, you don't know him. I mean, I think you're just a very chill person.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds bizarre because I don't know, you see something so bizarre like that, and I think most people want to panic or freak out, but you're just kind of a steady person. He doesn't really get too freaked out about it.
It's like the thoughts are there, like, this is really weird, and it was very scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not knowing what in the world was going on. But yeah, no, I didn't like slam on the brakes and or it's just like, okay, we're still here. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, now the only other, and so I'm just going to say it before somebody puts it in the comments, is that the sewer treatment plant was giving off some kind of gas that made you hallucinate, okay? Because somebody will say that. Somebody will be like,
yeah.
Now, listen, we're from Baltimore originally. You want to talk sewer treatment plants?
Oh, yeah, that is.
No, listen, this is nothing compared to the Baltimore sewage treatment plant.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Jeez,
and that ironically was another thing I had to drive by on my way to work.
You got to find a different job.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's how I find my jobs. I look for the sewage.
Look for the sewage. I want to pass the sewage treatment plant.
I can pass that, right?
So, holy smokes. So you see, so once you see this on your land, though, that doesn't freak you out to the point of it's here, like either, like, how do you reconcile? It's one thing to see it passing down the road. You could just like not go that way anymore. Okay. But to have it be on your land and knowing that you guys.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not.
It was on the roof. It was on the roof.
Yeah.
Now, did you hear it and go out and look?
No, I was sitting on the front porch. We have a long covered porch. And it was a beautiful day. I was home alone.
So this is an interesting point. I don't know if you have been around like birds and stuff.
Chickens.
Like if you have chickens, because we have lots of chickens and ducks. So under normal circumstances, even though we live on a farm, it's loud. It's always loud here.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So as you're sitting there on the porch, you said all of a sudden you heard everything go silent.
Well, right before it went silent, you just know your animals when you have a farm.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that chickens do that's very interesting is they have language, they have communication. And you get to know your roosters. I have probably 25 roosters on the farm. And I heard the noise, and they will make an alert to the hens. One noise is basically run and don't stop. It's a land predator. It could be a fox or something. But they make a different noise when it's an aerial predator. And it's a signal to the hens to go get under something, take cover. So I had heard that noise, and we have hawks. We have, that's just normal.
Yep.
We have owls. We have predators. And I watch all the birds scatter, and they're running under things and in the coop. And then the whole property goes silent. It was literally that classic. Everything went silent. The wind went quiet. It was just very weird. And I was just sitting on the porch reading. I'm like, okay, that's weird. That was the first time I'd ever experienced anything quite like that. But I figured, okay, that's a big predator or something. And then I hear like a movement, like walking on the roof right above me.
Yeah.
And I heard something that it's just one of those things where you hear it and you have to sit back and kind of analyze, what the F did I just hear? I hear a sound, like I said, the only way to describe it is like you're watching a movie like Jurassic Park and you hear the pterodactyls take off or something, because it's like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It's not like, I'm around owls. I've been around all these big birds. There's nothing. I mean, we have turkeys, we have geese, I've never heard this noise, but it was clearly something is jumping off my roof and I hear wings. You can hear literally the air movement under the wings. And I look up and I could see something. I mean, it looked like a hang glider. And I have a lot of trees around, so it was kind of hit or miss, because there's spots that you can see through and spots that you can't. So it wasn't as clear as what he saw, but it was definitely like, there's an effing pterodactyl flying over my head.
So I mean,
that's the way I saw it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, he's describing it as a flying squirrel. I look at it, I'm like, I see from underneath. I'm not watching something move in that way. I'm hearing something like jump off my roof, because I heard movement right after everything went silent. And then I can hear this movement of air, like wings moving air. And then I see like something gliding off my roof. So for me, my perspective looking up was like, oh my God, there's a pterodactyl flying over my farm.
And that's the same kind of texture that he's describing, right, as a naked, it's that reptile like skin. Wow. And you're not going to, I had a guy on not too long ago that had in Kentucky,
be right back,
as a kid, had an experience. They lived on top of a mountain, his grandparents did, and him and his cousin basically had to run and hide from, he called it a thunderbird, because that's what they are called by some of the Native American tribes. And it's a very, like in the West Virginia and Appalachians, they're, I don't want to say they're common, but there's quite a few sightings of those. And it just sounds weird. It sounds weird, but when you're in a remote place, like you guys said, you're pretty remote, even though you're got a farm. You're out there where there's no internet half the time and no cell phone signal. You're out in the sticks and there's stuff. Who knows?
I don't know. The interesting thing about where our land is, Kentucky is the biggest cave system in the whole United States, but where we are specifically, all through here, people come down and go spelunking. It's close enough to the Kentucky River, so there's all kinds of cave systems that people go underneath. You have the river there, you have the Palisades, you have, even within our farm, pretty much everything down here, you have like open pastures, but everything is surrounded by trees. Mm-hmm. And even if it's not like Daniel Boone National Forest, I know even, we're just walking around maintaining our property over the weekend. And I do have to chuckle because you'll hear something, right next to you. And I'm like, this is just like the woods on our property.
Right.
I can't see through this at all.
You can't see anything.
You can't see anything. It's, even though it's just like, just your perimeter, just, it's just kind of, just your trees around the farm. It's still thick enough, right, that literally anything could be there, and you really can't see anything. So it's an interesting geography to, kind of have anything, I think.
So Steve, so that has not, the whole losing time stuff hasn't happened to you then any more than just those couple times.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, he also
We'll
quickly
say
got
no,
off
but-
night shift.
Yeah, I'm not on night shift anymore. So I work days.
Okay. Listen, I hope when this episode comes out, people will listen. I want to know if anybody else has had a similar experience on that highway near the sewage plant.
I would love to find that out too.
Yes, I would love to hear if anybody's had that, because to me that's the compelling thing about this whole episode is what happened. Like,
Yeah.
where I still think you slipped inside another time on the old timeline there. Like, you slipped inside another place for just a little bit, and I don't know, crying out loud, that's crazy. So tell me about these lights that you sent me a video of. I want to hear about those.
We get these lights. It's been quite frequent, and that was last summer. That was the video that we sent you. It was summer, so we were still out pretty late, and Steve was at the barn, which is just down the hill, and I was at the house, and I'm looking at this. It's very, very bright, very bright. It's kind of an orangey color is what we're seeing. And he notices it at the same time. So he's down at the barn recording, because I'm like, this is not normal. We are,
so weird.
Yeah, we're close enough to the airport that I'm used to seeing planes. I know, you just get comfortable with, I know what that looks like. It had no sound. So it wasn't like a drone where you're hearing that buzz sound. There was nothing. It was dead silent, which you can hear in the video because you can hear the chirping of insects in the background.
Mm-hmm.
No motor engine sound. And I'm recording up at the house, trying to zoom in with your phone, which is not great. And you're recording down there. And then when we went back and reviewed it is when we saw this very weird pattern.
First of all, the video that I sent you, I mean, you see it moving all around. Some of that is actually me trying to keep track of it because it's moving around so much. But most of what you actually see is it's moving, and I don't know anything that moves quite like that other than a drone. But I don't think that was a drone. But and then when I went back and watched, and I sent the shorter clip of just that glitch, like,
yeah.
What the hell was that?
Well, I noticed at the beginning of the video, and I'll have Phil put it up here so people can see it. But there's another light in the sky.
Yes, there was multiple of them.
To the left.
My phone couldn't capture what we could actually see with our eyes, and it was just the best I could do.
So,
but yeah, there's more than one.
We've noticed lights since we've been here, but something changed last summer, and that was the first time we recorded that. But I started noticing all year, and it was a mild winter evening. I think you were in bed, and I see these lights again. And I walk down the driveway. You ended up coming after me, like, what are you doing out here? Because it was late. I see these lights, just exactly like what I showed you. And this was the weirdest part. I could see like one main one, like what that was. And then you would see others coming from both sides. And they were communicating, because one would be blinking this, and then you would see blinking over here, and then this would blink, and then this would blink back. This was not a planet. This wasn't a star. This was communication, like going back and forth. And then one would move away.
I'm gonna turn on the light.
Yeah, now it's all dark.
Yeah, it's going.
You can see communication. And that pretty much has been a fairly regular occurrence here that we can see right out our front door on a pretty regular.
And now it's just to the point where, come on, just go to bed.
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you do at this point? It's just there.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Or something. I mean, you can't. I don't
well,
know
the
what.
thing is, whether it's alien or something of ours, it's still out there communicating and moving around like it's like stuff that we know of shouldn't be moving.
Right.
So
right.
we
It's very,
had
very
a
bizarre.
couple weeks ago, the light looked closer to me than normal, but it was that same weird embery glow. And I know better than to walk outside, but I walked outside. And I wanted to see if I could record it again. So I'm watching it from inside, and I'm like, I'm going to grab my phone and go outside. By the time I grabbed my phone and literally just walked out the front door, it was gone. And because we have tree coverage, I'm like, I wonder if it moved. So I stepped out off the porch, and I'm looking up and kind of scanning to see if I could see it. And I had something that I've personally never experienced before happen. I started hearing this noise off to the right. And the only way to describe it is, Steve, when we first got married, show me this. I'd never done this before, where you wet your hand and you rub your hand across a wine glass, and you get that. It's like a frequency, like
it's like
that.
a humming. It's like a humming. Yeah.
But I could feel it, so I could hear this like, but I could feel it like in my. He's a musician, so I'm used to like music, like an amp or something where you can feel it in your body. I could feel this in my body, but it was only on the right side. And then I hear it from the left side. It's not on the right anymore, just on the left. Then I heard it on the right side, and this went back and forth a couple times. And then I heard it on the right side, and then the left side, it was like somebody ran up on you and like screamed in your ear, like to the point where you can like feel it, like somebody's breath on you. But it was still just that hum. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't like,
So it's like a fly or something right up in your.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when you have a fly that you hear its wings like buzz, but it was that that hum, that frequency, and it was so loud that I actually felt like my eardrum popped, and the whole left side of my face swelled. I mean, it was very weird. Like my eye kind of swelled, my cheek swelled up, and my ear hurt for days. I mean, it was so loud, that frequency. And I'm like, okay, I'm going inside. I don't need to know anything else. I'm going inside. So I went in. I don't know what happened after that, but that was a new one. I had not experienced anything like that before.
I think you need to stay inside. I'm just going to be honest. Like you need to get instead of a baby gate, you need a Beth gate and keep her inside. Listen, I don't even know how you guys can. It's hard enough living on a farm and doing all the work and taking care of everything. But then to have all this other stuff happening, I don't know how it'd just be crazy. But thankfully, it doesn't sound like they're messing with your animals and doing anything.
One time I had something mess with my animals.
I spoke too soon.
We have two retired. My kids grew up showing horses, so we have two old girls that are in their 20s and 30s.
Oh yeah, we got one too.
They're just pasture buddies at this point. They did their job. Now they're just living out their life. But the pony's about 35. The horse is about 25. So, but she's still big. She's a big girl. And one was it last summer? I think that was last summer as well.
You told me when the fence got knocked down.
So I went down. Yeah. I had the horse's back legs were just like cut to pieces. It was just very weird, just cut to pieces. And she was very up, just something was just not right. And when I started walking that field, I had, that's easily 500-600 feet of fence just down. It was just, and it was metal, like T-posts, and the T-posts were actually bent.
So something knocked over 500 feet of fence?
Yeah.
And there were several sections that the T-post was literally, and if you've ever been around a T-post, that's not something you can just bend in half. They weren't just laying down, they were like bent.
Wow. And they were bent in. It wasn't like the horses.
No,
Right,
they were
Wow.
bent in.
exactly.
So
Yes.
something was coming in. And so did it look like they had fought something off, kicking it?
I think so, yeah. Because she's feisty. She would have. And she's fast. So I guess she got away from whatever it was. But I mean, her legs were all, she has white on the back of her legs. So I saw it real easily. It was all swollen up. But it looked like all around. Because I started walking the fence initially to make sure, oh gosh, I hope something isn't in the field that she got caught up on. I mean, that's my thought process. I wasn't thinking, but now we have had about half a mile up the road a couple years ago. There's another horse breeder up there that had an attack, and it shredded some horses. And those are very big horses. They're breeding up there. They're breeding thoroughbreds, and they were shredded. And
I'm gonna tell you, I don't know many things that can shred a horse.
Right.
Like a bear. I mean, maybe a bear could, but I don't imagine a bear on a normal day attacking a horse.
Right. Well, they did a necropsy, and this is, I'm sure, public record. Anybody can look this up. And the vet did say it was definitely not. It was definitely not like bears or anything like that. That they did, based on the bites and the tears and things. They said, because everybody knows everybody when you live in a little place, and so everybody's talking. And it's like, no, that wasn't a bear. That wasn't,
if it's not a bear, then you tell me what it is around there. Because even so if a wolf
They chalked it up as a big cat.
They said, well, it had to be a big cat because there was nothing big enough that could have taken these horses down. So they assumed there was big cats around or something.
Well, then you're going to get me on a whole nother subject where every fish and game and wildlife, they tell you that there's no big cats running around. And I've had 10 people on the podcast in different states that have seen them and work for so a couple of them work for government entities and are like, yeah, we know they're out there. And it's like, then why don't you tell people?
Right.
Absolutely right.
I mean, good Lord, holy smokes. Holy smokes. Well, I'm going to tell you what, I have no answers for. I was not expecting the stuff that happened on your drive. And I was definitely not expecting these dogs to be running around your Suburban.
Yeah.
That is but that, like I said, that's not out of the, that's not normal. People do talk about these creatures, like I said, and Bigfoot running at high speeds, but I still think it was something a little bit paranormal. You know what I'm saying? I think I think something happened to you. I got nothing with the naked squirrel pterodactyl thing. I don't know. It's like you get to the point. It's like, are you just getting messed with by something?
Right.
Like we're just okay. So the dogs running by him didn't weird him out. Ended up in the middle of nowhere. So we're going to find, okay, what's next? What's next that we can get Steve with and maybe have him, go, get a little excited, I don't know, but I will tell you this, I would invest in a dash cam if I was you, because, I think I don't know.
Yeah, that would be nice.
You might catch something good.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys. I know it was tough getting this lined up with the no internet, but I appreciate you guys hanging in there and telling these experiences, because these are crazy. These are some crazy experiences. Some firsts for me, for sure. And I don't know. I just tell you guys, be careful out there. Be safe. Don't go out at night anymore, Beth. I don't care. I mean, And I can't, number one, I still can't get over how great Steve's hair is at his age because, I mean, it's fantastic. Somebody needs to sign him up for a Head and Shoulders commercial. I think he's got Troy Polamalu beat. I'm just going to say that. Innocent beat. So, well, guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out and sharing these. Like I said, I'm hoping that somebody else has a similar experience on that highway and says something. I hope by you guys saying something, somebody else will say something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.